Welcome to InterPartyConflict, the podcast where we answer your questions so you can have the best tabletop gaming experience possible. My name is Gabe.
My name is Jeff.
And we're going to answer your questions today. But first, I have a question. Jeff.
Yeah.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. Pretty exhausted. Had a long day, but it was productive. We took our dog to her first training class.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture on Facebook.
Yeah, so it's just general obedience stuff. Like we only had her about 3 months now.
Sure.
So, but we wanted to put her through some training courses, and obviously we want to learn what to be doing right for her. Mm-hmm. And I was pretty nervous about it, just because like she's kind of scared of outside. Like she doesn't do super well on walks and stuff. We have a hard time getting her to go outside at all.
Sure.
And like the training class was held outside. It just, so I was a little nervous about it, but she did like super well. Like she was pretty scared for most of it. Like she was a little nervous, mm-hmm. but she did pretty good on most of the things. Like we definitely have a lot of work to do, but
okay.
Like I'm just like, I don't think it would have gone any better for her first time. And I think that was, it went pretty well. So.
Cool.
But yeah, it was pretty, and we had to get up like extra early for it and stuff like that. So I'm pretty exhausted, but it was good though. So
cool. Well, congratulations.
Yeah. Thanks. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So I think I said last week that, there was rumor that we were going to be, laid off for this past week. That didn't happen.
Great. Yeah.
However, my work is still bonkers. They sent us home basically at the beginning of the shift twice. They canceled Sunday. Like we're recording this on a Sunday. They scheduled us for Sunday, and then they canceled it, and then they told some people that it was back on, and then they canceled it for those people again. It's been, I don't know what the heck they're doing.
Right. Yeah.
It's been ridiculous, but whatever. I mean, I'll take whatever little bits of time off I can get. It sucks that I can't plan anything because I don't find out until, day of.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty.
Like 2 days this week, I had to drive. I live about an hour from my work. Driving there usually takes about an hour and a half with traffic and everything. I had to drive to and from work twice this week, only to find out, they knew they were gonna send us home. They knew it several hours earlier. So
yeah, they just didn't say. But no, Gabe, it's okay, because like if you decide that you need to have like a day off or something, you just call the same day and just be like, no, I'm just gonna take a personal day today.
Right.
So I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then that'll go over like super well, and would they would. Yeah, they
I'm sure they would be like, oh yeah, don't worry, go for it. Yeah, you can do that whenever you want.
Yeah.
Well, here's one good thing though that happened as a result of getting sent home. I mean, the good thing of being sent home from work is just because I didn't have to be at work. That's the good thing.
Right.
But also, I stopped there's a micro center not far from my work, and I stopped there mainly because one of my work friends had told me that I might find this there. I got there. I looked in one of the little coolers up at the front of the building where they keep soda and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff, do you remember Frost Top root beer?
Yeah, I sure do.
So everybody out there, Frost Top is a brand of root beer that I used to really like. Before I discovered my love for RC Cola, before we moved to Tennessee, I really, really liked Frost Top. The thing is, you couldn't really find it anywhere. It was kind of like only specific individual locations had it. Like one grocery store might have it, but then another grocery store in the same chain didn't have it. And I haven't seen it at any of the places that I used to get it at. I haven't seen it any of those places since we moved back to Michigan 7 years ago. However, one of my friends at work told me, they have that at Micro Center. And I was incredulous. I was like, no, they don't. There's no possible way they do. But I went there and sure enough, they had 5 bottles of it. I didn't buy all of them. I'm wishing I had, because when I got 3 bottles and I bought some other stuff while I was there. You always buy extra stuff at Micro Center. And then I got out to my car and I'm thinking to myself, I've been building this up in my mind for the last like 10 years or whatever. There's no way this is as good as I remember. And then I took a sip, and Jeff, it was better than I remember. It was so freaking good.
Oh yeah, Frost Top.
I wouldn't say it's my favorite pop, but it's definitely number 2.
I'm pretty sure I've tried it. I'm pretty sure you've had me try some before.
I feel like there was one time in particular I bought some for you and Steve.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
no,
good,
I remember it being pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Frost Top.
Yeah, I call it Frostop. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's just one word, Frost Top. So,
Yeah.
so you don't know where the cutoff is there. So.
Right. And so another quick little bit of good news before we start. Not necessarily good news, but like a cool thing that's happening. If I am not mistaken, like the day we record this, or maybe yesterday or something, was your engagement anniversary. Is that correct?
Oh yeah. That's that
I
is
think
today.
Skylar put a thing on Facebook about it.
Yeah, that is today. As of this, the day we're doing the recording. Yeah, we've been engaged.
Congratulations, Jeff.
Yeah, we've been engaged for 6 years. We haven't gotten married yet, but that's
whatever works for you.
Right? Yeah. It's not like the physical marriage thing isn't like the most important thing to us, but
sure.
I mean, we'll get around to it eventually.
Yep.
But next summer we'll have been together 10 years.
Wow, cool.
So it's pretty exciting. It's fun.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
And then the day before this episode goes out is going to be my wedding anniversary.
Oh yeah.
So we're actually going out of town. So we're going to be out of town the week that this goes out. So I'll have to figure out how to get it. I'll have to get everything uploaded ahead of time and everything and ready to go out. But we're going out to Las Vegas with some friends.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So
that's fun.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited for that.
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. So yeah, cool stuff all around, I guess. You want to go ahead and get into this episode?
Yep.
Okay. I want you to imagine that you are walking down your alleyway of magical procurement of choice.
Sure.
It's that alley that kind of goes like, it's not horizontal or vertical. It's like kind of diagonal.
Sure.
And then you get kind of turned around. You turn down somewhere you didn't mean to, and before you realize it, you're walking past people with holding like a tray full of like toenails, and then you see somebody with like some this really big guy that's holding a bottle of like flesh-eating slug repellent.
Yeah.
And then you kind of stumble into this store because you got to figure out where you're going. So you go into one of the establishments to ask for directions, and you get in there. And you see that they've got this ominous looking necklace in a glass case. They've got a cabinet in the corner that you get the impression something bad would happen if you were to put something in that cabinet. You also see a severed hand holding a candle on a glass case. And then this man pops up. You could have sworn there was nobody there a second ago, but this creepy looking guy just kind of appears next to you. And he says, I can see that you are a connoisseur of the mysterious arts. And whether that's true or not, he doesn't let you finish. He actually pulls out a map. And you can see that as he unrolls this map, it's got directions or something written on it. And there's like some blood spattered on it. Actually looks kind of recent. And he says to you, I'll bet you would love this map, wouldn't you? Do you want to know where this map leads?
Where does it go?
This map goes to the Dragon's Hoard. That was a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah.
Borgin and Burks that you had just stumbled into.
That's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Which in a
lot of good details
way,
in there.
Thank you. Which in a roundabout way is related to the item that we're talking about today.
Oh, sure.
Today's item was submitted by Black Magus 2651 via Discord. And the item is Vision in the Night. These goggles wrap around the head with a leather strap and cover the eyes with obsidian lenses. The goggles protect the eyes from the harsh light of day. The wearer is unaffected by any form of light blindness or light sensitivity. All checks involving sight have advantage. And these lenses do not give dark vision. Instead, the wearer can see in the dark as if it were an overcast day.
Huh.
But then here's the part that I really liked. Indoor spaces are seen as if the light source is from the wearer.
Huh.
So that's the item. Basically, it lets you see in the dark, but in a way that I think is really cool. I mean, it also gives you advantage on perception checks or whatever. It lets you get by light blindness or light sensitivity. But what I think is really cool is that it's basically like, it looks like you have a light source that only you can see.
Sure. Yeah.
And I've always liked that concept. The reason I did the Harry Potter reference at the beginning is because in the Harry Potter series, there's a magic item that exists in other folklore called the Hand of Glory.
Right. Yep.
Which I believe, I mean, at least in Harry Potter, I don't know exactly what it does in other legends, but it was a hand that if you put a candle in it and light it, it gives off light, but only you can see it. You could be walking through a pitch black room. You could see everything. Nobody else would be able to see you or the candle that is giving off light that you are carrying, because the Hand of Glory makes it only give off light to you.
Right. Yeah.
So this kind of felt like that to me, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it's just like it's like improved dark vision, because yeah, well, it doesn't give you dark vision, but you can see as if it's an overcast day, which means that like you can see color, which is a thing that you can't see in dark vision. You can see like finer details and stuff. And then indoor spaces, you basically have you could basically have a torch, but it's you, but only you can see the light. Yeah. That's pretty cool. And like obsidian lenses, it almost feels like, it's kind of like they're kind of like sunglasses in a way.
Kind of, yeah.
So, you could probably I'm assuming you can see normally in normal light.
I presume, yeah.
Or I guess you're just it's just like wearing sunglasses inside. Maybe or it says you get advantage on.
Yeah, you have advantage on
all checks involving sight have advantage. So I guess you can see better.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like these you could pretend that your character's blind. You could tell people that your character's blind.
Sure.
And then they go you're obviously you're wearing leather and obsidian over your face. You probably can't see a dang thing.
Right.
But really, you can see really well.
Yeah. This is not really related to this, but do you remember in the 3rd edition Arms and Equipment Guide, there was an alchemical material you could buy? It was this dust that you could, if you smeared it on a surface, it looked just like a regular, a dull gray dust, unless you were looking at it with dark vision, in which case it would glow.
Oh, that's pretty
I always
cool.
thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that's neat. It's just a way for to leave messages for. Yeah, I don't know, goblins can leave messages for each other. Goblins have dark vision, don't they? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. They better. They're goblins. Yeah, so I just thought this was a pretty simple item, but it's cool. I mean, here's a thing I will say. Hey, DMs out there, if you want darkness to be scary, or you want darkness to seem like a big obstacle, don't play D&D. Darkness is one of the easiest things to get around. There's always all these memes online of, DMs getting upset that every time they say a room is dark, someone pipes up with, I have dark vision. And it's like, players chill out. But also, DMs stop using darkness as this scary thing. It's not.
Right,
I have never watched a superhero TV show or movie or whatever and been like, oh man, it's awesome that he's unable to see in the dark. No, I don't care. Darkness isn't cool. Just go on. Don't expect darkness to be an obstacle.
Sure.
Because it's not, and D&D doesn't treat it like it is, because there are so many easy ways to get around darkness.
Yeah, torches, cantrips, dark vision on
so many races have dark vision in 5th edition.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I think that'll do it for the Dragon's Horde. Once again, that was Vision in the Night, submitted by Black Magus 2651. Thank you very much, Black Magus 2651. Jeff, if anybody wanted to be like Black Magus 2651 and they wanted to submit magic items for the Dragon's Horde, or questions for our main segment, or stories for the Funeral Pyre, how would they get those to us?
They can send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com or join us at our Interparty Discord at bit.ly/interpartydiscord.
That's correct. And before we go any further, we've got a giveaway today.
Ooh.
We are giving away a copy of the Witch class created by Seawood Scribe, which was one of the classes in the Strahd's Manual of Shadow supplement that we gave out last year. So this supplement it's like almost 40 pages long. It's got a full class with spells, subclasses, lots and lots of stuff in there. It's really, really cool. And it's a great supplement, and it's from Seawood Scribe, who's made lots of other great supplements too. So Jeff, who is the winner of the Witch class today?
Our winner today is TB.
Whoa, 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 winner! Yes, congratulations, TB. You should be getting that in your email pretty soon. Be sure to leave Seawood Scribe a review. The more reviews that he has, the more attention he'll get, and also the more he'll know to make his products better in the future. And I think he just came out with another supplement pretty recently too. So I'll put that in the show notes. So go check out all of Seawood Scribe's stuff. It's all really, really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yes. So big thank you to Seawood Scribe. Congratulations, TB. Jeff, if anybody else wanted to enter this drawing and win a free copy of this great supplement, how would they do so?
They can send us an email at interpartyconflict@gmail.com with Hocus Pocus in the subject line.
That's correct. And then a quick reminder, we are, I think the week after this goes out, we're going to be doing the drawing for the next leather product from Maumee River Leather. This one is the leather box that looks like a leather journal. It's got like a cool sea serpent or something carved onto the front. And then again, it just looks like a leather bound journal, but you open it up and it's got 4 compartments. You can store dice in there. You can store minis in there, possibly maybe like a deck of magic cards or something. Mm-hmm. It's really, really cool. So if anybody wants to enter that drawing, you just have to leave us a review on the platform of your choice and then email it to us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. If you've already left a review, awesome. Just take a picture and send it to us. And good luck. Good luck to everybody. So we'll be doing that drawing then. And then a month later, I think on the 9th of November, we're going to be doing the drawing for the leather book cover as well. So good luck to everybody out there. And anybody who has not entered, you still have time.
Yep.
And then one more quick thing. Check out the other podcasts on the Crit Nation Fellowship. Check out Crit Academy, critacademy.com. Justin, Ian, and Austin create new and reusable content for players and DMs alike. Also check out Brute Force and Ignorance. They're an actual play podcast on the network. And check out D&D Character Lab and the Kind GM podcast as well. We've got lots of great stuff on this network. Enough of all the admin. Let's get into some questions.
All right. Our first question comes from Floofy Shoob on Discord, and they ask, how much do you think you've spent on minis and battlemat decor? Uh-oh.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I don't really think I've spent that much because I don't really buy minis.
Right.
I've bought, I want to say I've bought like 3 large battle mats, or two large ones. One of them I lost. I don't know what the heck happened to that first one that Chris drew like the little ring demon in.
Dang.
He drew it in red marker, which does not come out.
Right. That, yeah, stained it forevermore. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember what happened to that when it got lost somewhere. And then I have another one that I still have now. And then I think I bought a small one at like a garage sale or something. So maybe $100 on those.
Sure.
And then minis, I mean, again, I don't really buy minis, so not much. If you take into account like 3D printing, I mean, well, if you're counting 3D printers.
Oh, no.
I mean, that is what I primarily bought my resin printer for. I mean, I guess in that case, that's another couple $100 for the printer.
Right. That's, yeah. If you're talking printing minis, yeah, that's its own expense. And, you know, it's one of those things that can technically pay for themselves.
Oh, and it has. Yeah.
I mean, definitely you. Yeah, you have been able to get a lot of good use out of your printers. I've not touched mine in some time.
Sure.
Not that I don't ever plan to go back to it, because
You'll get back to it someday.
Yeah, eventually, because I've been getting the itch to do some painting, but we'll see.
Well, if you ever want to print any of the like I've that Tarask, anything from that creator, I've got several months worth of Patreon rewards from them. There's some really cool minis in there. So
cool. Yeah, yeah. So beyond 3D printing and like printers and stuff, I mean, I have Warhammer figures. So does that count? Because if that counts, then I've spent quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, probably. I would say yes. I would say yes. It does count.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go into the numbers. Okay, man. Yeah, because they're not cheap, and it's like they're too expensive. Buy a 3D printer if you really want to get into Warhammer. Just buy a 3D printer.
Sure.
Like, oh man, like.
Here, Jeff, I'm going to interrupt you and I'm going to make a joke. Well, I guess the amount that you've spent on Warhammer minis is between you and Slanesh.
Wait, what is Slanesh?
It's the god of excess in Warhammer, apparently.
Oh, goodness. What?
I did a quick Google, like, what are the gods in Warhammer?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
Please.
That's fine. It's fine. I don't know a whole lot about Warhammer lore, although I do know a few little tidbits here and there, like how the orcs in Warhammer 40K come from like they basically grow from a fungus.
Oh.
Yeah, it's weird. And they're like one of the more psychically linked races in the entirety of Warhammer 40K. It's just because they're so crazy that like they're like, but because they're orcs, they can't tap into it.
Yeah.
As well, as like a trained psychic.
Don't they like? Or whatever. They like will weapons into existence or something like
that is kind
of works.
Right. That is how they are tapping into like the psychic energies of the universe in that game or something. That's the kind of that's the lore is like, because they're so powerful in their will and like their connection to this, I forget what it's called, like the warp or something.
Sure.
It's just like I don't know. It's like an extra dimensional space that is just full of psychic energy or something weird like that. I don't know.
So weird.
Oh man, don't go down that rabbit hole. If any of this interests you, just don't do it because you're going to spend so much time going, and then eventually you'll spend a lot of money and you'll go, oh, this is terrible. Like,
if this game if you feel yourself going down that path, you need to pray to Tzeentch to change your ways.
Gabe, no. Oh, okay. So yeah, definitely several hundreds of dollars on miniatures. I can't say for sure. I don't think I've reached 1,000.
Yeah.
But then again, if we're gonna count printers, then maybe we should also count all the painting stuff that I get, like all the figure painting stuff I bought. Like I bought a pretty expensive airbrush because I was like, I want a good airbrush because like I had other ideas other than just model painting. I was like, airbrushes are cool, and I bought a very nice one, and I used it for a bit, and it is really nice. But then again, like I haven't painted my minis in a long time, so I'm like, well, okay, that was. I mean, it's not going to go bad. It's a good piece of equipment. I'm going to either hang on to it or sell it. So whatever.
Yeah. So the more I think about it, the less I can rationalize not including the money I've spent on, at the very least, 3D printing files, like the actual miniature files, because I mentioned earlier, there's a creator that I'm supporting on Patreon called Lord of the Print. And I've been a patron of theirs for like 7 or 8 months now, and so the money I've spent on those, that's definitely me buying miniatures. I don't know how else to describe that other than buying miniatures. And there was also, before them, there was another creator that I supported that created a bunch of other miniatures, and I supported them for several months too. So actually, when I think about it, for me, it's probably upwards of $500.
Yeah.
When you really get into it, I mean, I've probably never actually held most of that money's worth of miniatures in my hands, but I've definitely spent money on it, and it is definitely going towards miniatures.
Right. Yeah. It's stuff you have access to. So
I take back what I said completely.
Yeah.
I've spent a lot of money on miniatures.
Yeah. And once if I ever get my 3D printer up and working again, my resin one, there is a miniature artist that I've been following. I haven't given them any money yet, but like once I know, I'm like, you know what, I am gonna start printing minis again. I'm gonna go right over to their shop and be like, yep, I want that, and that. You know,
Sure.
So yeah, we've spent
a lot is the answer.
Quite a bit on the miniature side for sure.
Yeah.
Battlemat, yeah, like just those rolled battle mats that you can use dry erase stuff on. Like I've bought a couple of those over the years, and those were only like somewhere between like $20 and $50, depending on how crazy big. Unless you want like a really big one.
Yeah. And here's a tip. We've probably said this on the show sometime in the last 5 years, but if you do want to get a vinyl battle mat and you don't want to spend a ton of money, go to your local gaming store and see if they have any. Usually they'll have like a bin of ones that were like misprinted or something, or like they like cut it wrong or something.
Yeah.
And you can usually get them marked down because of that. So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They'll sell them a little bit cheaper.
Yeah. I remember when Jay and I first ever started playing D&D, like I'd played D&D with this other group and they had a vinyl battle mat. And then I went and I got Jay into the game. So like the two of us started our own campaign and like we got Steve in there. One day after high school, we went and we bought a big thing of poster board. And then we went to Kinko's because it was just Kinko's back then. And then we got it laminated, or I drew a grid on it and then got it laminated. And so we used that for a little while, but we used dry erase markers and they were really hard to get off. Mm-hmm. So it ended up not being as good of an option as we thought. Eventually I just bought a battle mat.
Right.
But I made one, you know. I can't remember how much I spent on that, but factor that into the several $100 amount that we gave earlier.
Right. Jeez.
Yeah.
Can we go and unanswer this question? I don't want to think about all the money I've spent.
Sorry. Yeah. Well, everybody just rewind this episode back to the beginning and
yeah, give me that money back. I want it.
Sure.
No, I don't actually regret it. I just, you know. That's why you never look at your purchase history on your Steam account. Just don't do it.
Sure. Yeah.
Cuz wow. All right, we have another question from Floofy Shoob on Discord, and they ask, what is the best or worst exploit you've seen, used, or attempted in a game?
Yeah, so like have you been in a game where somebody tried some sort of an exploit in D&D or Pathfinder or whatever, and then what was it? You know, what was the best or worst one? I really try to think about this, and I don't really have many examples. And the only example that I've personally seen that I could think of isn't even necessarily a good one, but I still thought this was worth bringing up. The best / well, I would say it's the best and worst at the same time is really anytime I've seen people in 5th edition kind of whore out their passive perception because of how we've talked in the past about how passive perception, in my opinion, really sucks in 5th edition. It's broken and it kind of ruins a lot of the game. And I've been in a couple campaigns where there's a person that they put a really high score in wisdom and they make sure to get either proficiency or expertise in perception. And then they take the alertness feat or the alert feat or whatever. And so then they end up with a passive perception of like 20. And because of how very stupid the judgment was by Jeremy Crawford in that you literally cannot get lower than your passive perception on a perception check.
Right.
Every time that there's a perception check, they're like, "Oh no, I rolled a 2. Okay, well I get a 20." And
right. Yeah. You're still
it sucks. It takes away the whole point of perception checks. It just sucks. I mean, go back to whatever episode we talked about passive perception and listen to my complaints then. That's the complaints that I have now.
Yeah, it's just like, it'd be like, well, okay, you could just always take 10 on perception. Like that's the ruling. Yep. Like you always take 10 or better. Or like you don't take 10, it's better than taking 10. You roll, and then if you get worse than 10, you just say you rolled a 10 and add your bonus.
Well, with the alert feat, it's like you rolled a 15.
Right. Yeah, cuz
roll, if you don't get a 15, you got a 15.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. Anyway, so that was episode 97 that we talked about passive perception. If anybody wants to go back and listen to it,
Sure.
So yeah. So I mean, and the thing is, I've never seen someone end up with a really good passive perception accidentally. It's always that they know how powerful it is, and so they're trying to exploit it. So it's not just that they're using a mechanic that's in the game. It's that they know what this mechanic is capable of, and so they are using that mechanic to the best of their ability. Like one player in particular that did this is the kind of player that if he is not quote unquote winning, he'll just leave.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, that's one of those things that's sort of like, I don't know. Is that an exploit if that's what they intended? Like, if it's something in the game that they didn't actually intend, but that is how the rules play out, then they go, well, I guess fine. I guess that's technically how it works or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good question.
But I think because like he came out, Crawford or whatever said, was like, no, it's this. And it's like, okay, if it's that, then I'm just going to, I'm going to build a character around that. I mean, it's like finding like a good combination of spells or abilities or something like that, and being like, "Oh, that is a good combo." Sure. I'm going to build a character based on that combo because that's a cool, that's a cool thing.
Yeah.
Like at what point does it become an exploit? I think with D&D at the very least, or like tabletop gaming, if it's an exploit, like if it's not clearly within the rules, like the DM can rule it out and be like, well, that's you're just exploiting this thing. I'm going to say no.
Sure.
Like if it's not just because the person wants to have fun and it's obviously they're trying to, exploit the rules. And then I guess like the DM could rule against it.
Yeah. I would say it's an exploit as long as, I would say that even if it is like how it's intended, it's an exploit whenever it's being used to the detriment of the game.
Sure. Yeah, I think the perception example, it does kind of fall into that because that can, like, that gets rid of, like you were saying with darkness being an obstacle.
Yeah.
Perception, I mean, like, it's kind of this similar thing where it's like if, not being able to see something, I don't know. Yeah, like I feel like that is sort of getting rid of a really, really powerful tool for the DM.
Sure.
And I feel like isn't there like a thing where like traps or something, like the DC for spotting traps in 5th edition is sort of laughable?
Yeah, and so like if you have, let's say you have a 21 passive perception, which is very possible in 5th edition, then that basically just means, every trap you see it.
Yeah, you're just like,
maybe when you get to really high levels, maybe then you might miss some traps. Or if the DM specifically makes traps to beat your passive perception, in which case, what's the point of passive perception? Anyway, I don't just want to rehash that entire episode.
Right, yeah.
Here's actually another example, and again, whether this is an exploit or not, I suppose could be argued. This is actually something that a DM has done, and I don't even necessarily think that it was bad for the game. To be perfectly honest, I don't remember if we ever actually encountered this monster or not, or if it's just something that the DM taunted us with. But I think back in a 3.5 game, Jay talked about making a war troll that was half black dragon.
Yeah.
Which basically meant it could not be killed.
I feel... I can't remember if I feel like we fought something like that in the Black Egg, but I don't think it was a war troll. I think it was just like a regular troll.
Yeah, I don't remember. So for anybody who was not around in the 3.5 days or the 3rd edition days, the way that regeneration worked, which is what trolls had, is all damage. So man, I got to describe subdual damage. You've got your hit points, and then when you attack someone, you deal hit point damage, but then you can choose to take a penalty on your attack or use a non-lethal weapon to deal what was called subdual damage, which was also damage, and you also kept track of it, but you kept a separate track of subdual damage from your regular damage. So like, let's say you have 50 hit points, you've taken 20 damage and 30 subdual damage, you would be knocked unconscious because you would have 30 hit points, and then 30 subdual damage would bring you to 0, which would not kill you or like put you into dying mode. It would make you unconscious. It was real weird. But the way that regeneration worked was that it made all damage subdual damage, except for the damage that was of the type that you were weak to. So trolls only took subdual damage unless they were hit with fire or acid. Those dealt actual damage to them. Everything else dealt subdual damage. And then regeneration got rid of your subdual damage. So there was a variant troll in one of the later 3.5 books. Maybe it was like the Monster Manual 3 or something. That it was immune. Or sorry, it had regeneration just like a regular troll, but fire didn't get through it. It was just acid. Even fire, fire and every other type of damage but acid dealt subdual damage to it, and then acid dealt actual damage. So Jay kept saying he was going to make a half-black dragon war troll, which would give it acid immunity, which, unless there are, I don't think there were any rules that said what happens in this case. It was presumed to always be up to the DM. But that means that there is no actual way to deal lethal damage to this half-dragon war troll.
Right.
So then what do? You're asking. I don't know. I don't know, because it is a combination of monster abilities that, by the book, is unkillable.
And that you would give it, wasn't there like a feat or something that allows you to continue fighting even when you're in the negatives or something like that? Oh, shoot,
yes. Even, yeah, I think so. Whether that applied to subdual damage, I don't know, but probably.
Yeah, something. So it's just like, yeah, no, you just can't be killed. Immortal.
Yeah, you just can't kill it. Even if you do knock it unconscious somehow, it's getting back up.
Right. You just have to you have to put it somewhere where it's going to continue to take damage forever.
Maybe disintegrate. No, because in 3.5, disintegrate didn't kill you instantly. It just dealt damage.
Right.
Oh boy, I don't know.
Wait, it wasn't like, well, I got me, or is this, or am I thinking of a 5th edition one where it's like you save, and if you fail, you get dealt damage, but then you make another save, and if you fail, you die.
That's not disintegrate. I'm not sure what that was. I don't know. I don't recall if death effects would instantly kill this half-dragon war troll. I'm not sure. Who knows? Probably not.
Make him like undead or a lich or something.
So there you go. It's an undead half-dragon war troll.
A half-dragon war troll lich. So that even if somehow you can kill him, if you can kill him, he has a phylactery.
He comes back. Yep.
No.
So that's, I did want to take a brief moment and use this question as an opportunity to talk about I've never seen this in person, so I couldn't really bring this in, but the Peasant Railgun.
Yeah.
For anyone who is not familiar, the Peasant Railgun is a thought experiment where you get, let's say, 10,000 commoners, and then you have them stand 30 feet apart, and then you have them all ready in action so that you can hand one of them a rock, and then their held action will cause them to walk 30 feet, and then as a free action or an interaction, hand the rock to the next peasant, who then uses their held action, walks 30 feet, passes it to the next peasant, walks 30 feet, passes it to the next peasant. Again, like 10,000 times or whatever unrealistic number you're looking at.
Right.
The idea then being that when you get to the end, you've got a rock that has traveled, 100,000 feet in 6 seconds. So you have the final one throw the rock, and then as per the thought experiment, this rock has then traveled that great distance in 6 seconds, so it breaks the sound barrier and deals, an undeterminable amount of damage. I love this because it is so stupid. It is both relying 100% on the rules to supersede reality, or to supersede quote unquote physics, until the moment where the final person throws the rock, at which point, yeah, I know we were ignoring physics, but now physics comes back into play. Physics didn't matter when these peasants were traveling 300,000 feet in 6 seconds. No, that's just game mechanics. That's not physics. But then when you throw the rock at the end, that's when physics comes into play. And it's just like, you cannot do this. Either you follow the rules in place of physics, or you follow physics in place of the rules. You cannot use the most advantageous part of both. You just can't. But so many people bring this up on discussion forums and such, actually intending people to think that it's viable. I'm sure a lot of them are just joking, but every now and then you get someone that's like, no, my DM wouldn't let me do it, so I left the game. And it's like, what are you doing? It's just such a good... There's a lot of fun, ridiculous thought experiments, and the Peasant Railgun is definitely one of them. It's definitely up there.
So let's see, 10,000 peasants, 30 feet. 30 feet. So that's 300,000 feet, but over 6 seconds. So that's 50,000 feet per second. So that is 34,000 miles per hour.
Okay, cool. What's the speed of light?
A lot faster than that. It's
a lot more than that.
It isn't like 300,000
300,000 meters per second. So
per
like
second, yeah. Or is it miles?
Oh no, sorry, 300,000 kilometers per second. Yeah.
Kilometers per second, yeah.
Sorry. It's 300 million meters per second. So and also hey, how'd you get all of these 10,000 peasants to work for you? How did you get them all spread out like that? And what are the enemies doing while you're setting this up? Because one of those peasants has to be 30 feet from the enemy. How long does it take you to set up this line of 10,000 peasants? And why isn't the peasant on the end dead? Or why hasn't the enemy walked away or something?
Right,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It's silly.
So I've never actually seen someone use it in person, but
right.
It's been brought up a lot.
It is a very silly thing. What about my kobold with a bell exploit?
I mean, is that an exploit or is that just a good idea?
Yeah, so you see a corridor in a dungeon and you're like, well, I don't know if there's any traps down there, but hey, I got this kobold who I've hired to do stuff for me. I'm gonna have him hold this bell and ring it as he walks down the corridor. And if the ringing stops, then I know, there's probably a trap down there.
Yeah, you know the kobold's dead.
But hey, that bell was kind of expensive, so you send another kobold to go get it.
Go get the bell and bring it back. Exactly. Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. I think that'll do it for our regular questions for today. But we do still have our social media questions. Our last social media question was, you're stuck on a desert island with only one tabletop RPG book. Which do you take? Do you recall what your answer was, Jeff?
I feel like we landed on the monster manual.
I feel like we landed on the Dungeon Master's Guide because they've got rules for making monsters in there.
That's true. Right. I do remember that. I can't remember.
We had a good argument for all three.
Really. I feel like we flip-flopped and I can't remember. I feel like I feel like you started on the DMG.
Maybe.
And then, but I think we maybe moved to the. I don't know. I think I like monster manuals.
Sure.
Yeah. You know what? I think I would probably still go with a monster manual.
Sure.
I'm gonna. I don't know. I can't remember what I landed on last time, but I want to say monster manual.
Okay. I would say either DMG or possibly, depending on the situation, maybe Rising from the Last War, which is the Eberron book, because hey, I could read that and learn everything there is to know about Eberron.
About everything.
Well, I mean, a lot.
Yeah,
we've actually in our group chat, we've been talking. Jay has been posting about how big Sharn is.
Oh, right.
There's been discussion about that recently, and it's interesting. So over on Facebook, Ryan P says, Vampire the Masquerade core book. Really have to get around to reading it since my friends want me to run it. And yeah, if you've got a group waiting for you when you get off that desert island, yeah, you should
You guys, I'm finally ready. Like, you got like a real long beard.
Yep. You step out of the room of spirit and time, and you've got a long beard, and you're like, all right, guys, I'm ready. And you turn Super Saiyan and pull out the DM screen.
Right, yes.
Or I guess it's Vampire the Masquerade, so you like do rock, paper, scissors.
Is that how you play that game?
Isn't it?
What?
I don't know. Which in LARP, sorry, I'm not sure. I don't know Vampire the Masquerade, but I know in LARPing, a lot of the time stuff is determined by rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, sure.
That's what I was referring to. If that's incorrect, everybody, sorry. I don't know Vampire the Masquerade, and I'm not going to learn about it. Sean M says, Pathfinder core rulebook. It's crunchier and will need lots of rereading. And yeah, that makes sense. The Pathfinder core rulebook it's basically a player's handbook and a dungeon master's guide put together.
Right. Yeah.
Darren W says, easy, the 5th edition PHB. What other book do I need? Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, fair enough. Even the player's handbook has some monsters in the back.
True. Yeah. Like it basically does have everything you need.
Yeah. And then Brandon B says, GURPS. I think we talked about GURPS last time. So yeah, GURPS is just, you can use it for basically any kind of game you want to run. It's a generic universal role-playing system. So that one works.
Yep.
That was everybody on Facebook. Over on Reddit, Alistar the Minotaur says, it's got to be the Pathfinder 1E core rulebook. I know the system well enough at this point that I can come up with creatures and a campaign off the dome. But if someone were to also crash land in my new kingdom, I'd need it so they could roll up a character. I haven't memorized the classes so well that I know exactly what they get at each level. Looks like I have a new goal, I guess. Fair enough.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, anything but the player's handbook would be hard to like make new characters, which is why like if I were to do the monster manual, I would just have players play as monsters.
Sure, yeah.
You know, next best thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Nobody on Twitter, and over on Discord, we got a lot, and not all of them were on topic, so I will try to turn these down. Deborah Soar says, Stars Without Number. I'd use the random tables to create worlds and adventure ideas when I was bored. And that's cool. I don't know much about Stars Without Number, but I've been meaning to look into that. Wolfpack Nate says, probably the 5th edition Player's Handbook. Makes sense. The Beverage Tea says, this is a good question. I originally thought one of the 3 core books, leaning towards the Monster Manual. Then I thought that I had already had a working knowledge of the mechanics and most of the game, so I think now it would be one of the other source books. Sword Coast is a little thin, so I would probably go with one of the Eberron, Theros, or Wildemount books. I think they have lore, player options, and a short adventure each. Wildemount seems like my most likely choice just for the theme. And then the Beverage Tea realized that because he hadn't listened to the episode yet, he realized that this was his question that he posed. So calling it a good question was maybe in poor taste. I don't know. Autumn Wind says, I guess I would go with Tasha's for the expanded class options. I can homebrew setting and monsters and magic items. The one true answer still has to be the player's handbook, though. I do not know the spells from memory. Honorable mention to Memorable Monsters by Crit Academy for a variety of ready-made NPCs and villains, and Nerzagal's Game Master Toolkit for cool puzzles, etc. Collins B says, I believe you can guess my answer, because when Collins was on a few weeks ago, I believe he was talking all about Orrery of the Wanderer.
Yeah.
See What Scribe says, I think I'd say the DMG for reasons Gabe presented. It has rules on making your own spells, races, classes, monsters, and magic items. It also has a bunch of quick blurbs on different planes of existence, which you could use for campaign settings. Peaceroy Pancake says, I should probably go with the core rulebook for 13th Age, as I've not completed that one yet. It also has some monsters, some loot, and a starter adventure, so if I was stranded with other people, that would be solid, I guess. But I know myself, and I'd honestly probably take the Explorer's Guide to Wildemount. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Wildemount? Something?
I'm not sure.
It's the one from Critical Role, which I'm not familiar with. I just recently got it, and I haven't had a decent chance to read it yet, and since it has so much lore and stuff, it would make for an interesting read. Though Eberron Rising from the Last War is a very close second. I think that's everybody's on-topic stuff. One more from us. And then Stiltskin Koopo 84 says, honestly, being that it's a desert island, I would probably have to go with more of a rules light system. Whether that would be Amazing Tales or Masks, I cannot say for certain, as I own neither. But my current feeling is that between the two, Amazing Tales is simpler. Sure, being trapped on an island would give me enough time to master a heavier system, but would I have the paper, pencils, and rubber erasers to make use of that? I figure a more rules light system would let me just doodle in the sand with a stick. Good point. I guess we didn't say what other materials you would have on you.
Right.
So that was all the responses to that question. Thank you everybody who wrote in. That was our last social media question. Our next social media question, possibly kind of similarly, your character is going on vacation. Where are they going? And what are they doing? I'll go first with this one. I've talked about how my character in Jay's Pathfinder 2e game, she's a paladin and she's gotten almost killed several times.
Yeah.
So anywhere else.
Yeah.
She is going back to a city and she is relaxing.
Right. Yeah.
That's what she's doing.
Taking some time off. Right.
Yes.
I'm trying to think back to a character that would have a interesting vacation.
Yeah.
All my characters are weird. I had a lizard folk druid that eats people. I have my current lizard folk who is just like a hunter character, and I haven't really given him a ton of thought as far as his background. I had my warlock. Was he elf? Yeah, was he full elf or half elf?
Are you talking about Elijah?
Yeah, he was full elf.
In
I think
Age of Worms, so I can put the ding in there. I think he was a full elf, yeah.
Yeah, I think he was like a gray elf or something like that. I can't remember it was some elf sub race or something whatever one that gave him like plus to like intelligence. I can't remember what stat he needed. I can't remember.
You mean you don't still have your character sheet from 15 years ago?
I might actually somewhere. I think I threw because I had a binder where I had all of my characters from forever, and like I want to say I cleared that binder out, but I threw him in like a shoebox or something somewhere. I don't know. It's possible I still have him. Let's see. And then I got like Warforged characters. What would Warforged do on a vacation? I don't know.
Hang out in the closet? Just like curl up in the closet and power down for a while?
Right. Yeah. It's there was the Warforged I was playing in the 4th edition. I think we were doing Shackled City, right?
Oh shoot, yeah.
Where he got called the damn statue.
Yeah,
Crush,
yes.
Yeah. He would actually just be a statue for a while just to take a long Warforged nap.
A long Warforged nap. I think that's great. That should be a thing. Oh man, I had such a rough day at work. I'm just gonna go home and take a Warforged nap. Yeah, I'm just gonna stand in the corner for a few hours.
Right, yeah.
I went to a party over the weekend. I just was so nervous. I just had to have a Warforged nap.
Just kind of kept to stand awkwardly in the corner, don't move. But hey, I can feel rested, and I got all my spells back.
There you go. All right, so I think that'll do it for our questions for today. But before we close out, let's wind down, let's relax, let's take a Warforged nap.
I don't know.
Yeah. As we toss another, let's remember those who have come before us, who have made the world a better place, as we toss another log onto the funeral pyre.
That's my leg.
Today's funeral pyre was submitted by Action Yan on Reddit, and they say, after a built-up beef between my half-picked ranger, and Jeff and I did a little bit of research, as far as we can tell, I think that's from the Conan game, Conan RPG or something. It's like a Celtic warrior, basically. It sounds like a slur, but I don't think it is.
We apologize if
it is. Oh boy, I apologize. We did our due diligence. I don't think it's anything bad. Yeah. After a built-up beef between my half-picked ranger with another PC, a Danmer fighter, we meet again in a tavern that is on fire and decide to solve our differences with an epic duel. The Game Master gave us a few rounds before the place collapsed, and we fought nonstop, nobody giving an inch, until finally I got critically stabbed just before the roof on fire took us both, using Rollmaster's secret attack and defense bidding pools for the duel. I don't know anything about Rollmaster, but it sounds like it was an epic battle, so let's raise a glass in memory of this half-picked ranger as we say, the roof, the roof, the roof is on fire. Clink. Every now and then I feel like, maybe I should say this to Jeff first and see.
No, it's good. Thinks. It's fine the way it is.
All right, that'll do it for today. To submit questions for us to discuss, items for the Dragon's Hoard, or stories for the Funeral Pyre, please email us at interpartyconflict@gmail.com. For show notes, links to media mentioned on the show, and running lists of questions and magic items, go to interpartyconflict.com. Join the discussion on social media. Find us on Facebook. We're on Reddit. We're on our Interparty Discord. We're on Twitter @InPartyConflict. Check those out for our weekly social media questions. Your answers might end up on the show. Find us on the podcatcher of your choice. We are on iTunes. We're on Google Play Music, Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, anywhere you download podcasts. Please rate, review, subscribe, or just tell a friend. If you leave us a review, take a picture of it and email it to us, and we'll enter you into our drawing for one of 2 awesome leather goods from Maumee River Leather. The next drawing will be a week after this episode. Also, our Patreon has ended our top 2 tiers. If you want to give us just $1 a month to help with hosting fees after we end the podcast in the future, you can go to patreon.com/interpartyconflict. No worries if you don't. It's been a great run. We've had some great people, and several of our top tier patrons have opted to continue to give us more than the minimum for at least for the time being, and that's so cool. So everybody who has supported us in the last 4 years, you're awesome. Thank you so much. And the show exists because of you guys. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Jeff, tell us about Friend Quest.
Friend Quest is a YouTube channel where you can watch us play video games.
And I was thinking about this the other day. So I was going to say that if you go to bit.ly/interpartyconflict, you can take a short survey about our show. I went to go check on that the other day because I wanted to change it so that it is not going to be a survey about our show anymore because the show is ending in a few months. Mm-hmm. If you had taken this survey, you would get 2 free printable board games, courtesy of the great people over at hollandspiel.com. And at some point, Google instituted some sort of a weird security thing and made it so that basically nobody could download those anymore. I don't know how recently that was. Nobody has brought it up to me. So either it was very recently or just nobody was answering the survey. Who knows?
Huh.
We may never know. I mean, I guess I can look at what the responses were. However, I've fixed that, and now there is only one question on the survey, and that question is, what is one of your favorite moments from the show?
Oh,
so if you go there and you answer it, you can get 2 free printable board games from hollandspiel.com, and I guarantee the links work. So
nice.
Thank you to everybody who did write it. And our music is made by Boxcat Games from Nameless the Hackers RPG. So, Jeff, until next time.
Does anyone want to buy some miniatures?